The story begins in a massive Asian city buzzing with normal life, but that illusion breaks instantly when, at an archaeological excavation, a blinding pillar of energy shoots straight into the sky like the heavens cracking open, and from that pillar dozens of smaller rays explode outward, scattering across the city until one tiny beam slips through the open window of a young graphic designer. Inside the room, the boy has just finished one of his greatest artworks ever, celebrating himself as the upcoming star of comics, imagining 10,000 likes and fans cheering his name when suddenly that small ray of light tears through his desk, burns all his projects, and pulls him in as if his room turned into a portal, making him appear in another world with a completely different look. Terrified and confused, he wonders if he's hallucinating after staying up too late drawing, or if he somehow traveled through time. But before he can understand anything, countless trees begin growing around him at super speed, and instead of panicking, he becomes unbelievably excited, shouting that he always knew he wasn't a normal person. But that joy lasts only a few seconds, because a huge minotaur appears and charges straight at him with a murderous roar, slashing its blade and sending him crashing to the ground, bleeding and wondering if he's truly the main character of the story he thought he was living. Suddenly, countless blades of wind smash into the monster, and from the side steps in a long-haired warrior surrounded by glowing blue energy, launching his technique 3-star demonic wind, summoning 2 massive blue dragons that slam into the beast and blow it apart in one strike. Our protagonist claps in shock, overwhelmed by how cool everything looks, but when the beast regenerates and returns, he immediately screams and runs for his life, asking where the newbie guide is. But then the light that had transported him turns pitch black, twists into the shape of an invincible sword, and starts chasing him. So the long-haired warrior stares in disbelief, wondering how the hell that random newbie is running with demonic wind behind him while dodging every attack. Our boy climbs a tree thinking it will save him, but all it does is let the beast smack him again, yet somehow he lands perfectly on the monster's shoulders like pure dumb luck. And at that moment the flying sword falls straight onto the creature's head and explodes it into dust. The next morning he wakes up back in the real world, lying on the street with no idea what happened, thinking everything was just a stupid dream, until a dog approaches him carrying a tiny strange creature on its head. The boy's eyes widen and he screams in excitement, calling it the sacred messenger Gilla, confirming everything was real. Later he rushes home, immediately giving his cat's old toys to the creature, but the furious little thing yells that it's not a pet but a divine beast that protects the great formation of the world, and when the boy mocks its size, its shape shifts into its true massive heavenly form, making him freeze. The creature introduces itself as Heron, a guardian who has protected the 3 worlds for thousands of years, and scolds him for acting like an idiot, saying that if it hadn't given him the divine sword Excalibur last night, he'd already be dead. The boy finally realizes the sword he used against the monster had a legendary name, but Heron grows serious and explains that the ancient seal has weakened, allowing more demonic winds to slip into the 3 worlds to destroy them, and the disturbance comes from the heterodox world, causing energy instability everywhere. But he shouldn't be afraid because he is the chosen one, the only human capable of seeing demonic beasts and spiritual spirits invisible to normal people, and the only one who can save the world. The boy becomes excited like he just saw the most beautiful waifu ever, but Heron tells him he must now enter the Great Formation and eliminate the demonic winds, though today's winds are easy to defeat. The boy proudly agrees, but before he can even ask about the demonic god, his phone rings and his boss screams at him to stop slacking and get to work because rent isn't going to pay itself. Heron sighs and tells him he needs to install a system inside his body to help him survive. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, the long-haired warrior rides in a luxurious car as his driver takes him to his next mission, and his system notifies him that the sheep-headed demonic monster has been eliminated. But the mission report says the one who killed it was our protagonist. He becomes furious, unable to believe that a nobody stole his kill. Back to our boy, he pedals his bicycle around the city doing deliveries, while Heron sits on his head complaining that he hasn't seen the human world for 500 years and everything has changed. Suddenly Heron asks if there are 2 divine beasts guarding the formation. The boy nods and proudly tells him to look to his side, only for Heron to turn and see a little bubble-shaped creature. Heron instantly calls it the dumbest spirit in all 3 worlds, and the bubble creature hits back, calling him stupid too, making the protagonist realize both have the same mother. Later the divine beast group chat starts buzzing when they see a video of our protagonist doing hero acts on the street. But since normal humans cannot see demonic creatures, everyone thinks he is mentally unstable, and the media calls him schizophrenic. The psychiatric hospital even sends a doctor to collect him, and the system suddenly issues a warning to all users, because the Night Sword has broken the law of the Chosen One and influenced civilian life. His preliminary evaluation is Level 1 dangerous. Capture immediately. All players go insane with excitement, unable to believe that the idiot is actually a Night Sword. Instantly, our protagonist is summoned as the Night Sword before the court of the Phantom fantasy world where powerful superiors demand he answer for his crimes. The poor boy stands there trembling, completely confused, asking what law he even broke, only for the judges to glare and tell him to stop pretending to be dumb, because this is only the beginning. As the court session continues, Lin nervously glances at his phone and notices that the mysterious voice of 1,000 miles application has been installed without him realizing, but he pretends to know nothing, so the judges, slightly annoyed, tell him that before his official punishment they'll only fine him and send the invoice to his real-world mailbox, and later he'll receive a detailed list of sanctions once the case is closed. After wrapping up, the court officials check his profile, record, and are completely shocked to discover that his spiritual pet is actually a divine beast, so they immediately change their attitude, approaching him with forced smiles and congratulating him politely, wishing him luck on saving the world. But the second they return to their office, they explode into laughter, mocking him for seriously believing that the bubble creature is powerful. Lin, watching through a window, tells Heron that he knew they'd laugh because he too thinks the creature looks like a bubble, which enrages the divine pet, and it starts punching him. While he remembers Lin had asked it to reveal its true form earlier, suddenly the bald court officer returns, asking why they're still lingering, and with a smile tells them that the hall is now closing. So Lin steps into the portal and arrives in a breathtaking futuristic fantasy city, excitedly asking the divine beast what they should do next, but all he receives are angry punches because Heron still hasn't forgiven his earlier comments. Lin then starts practicing dramatic fight poses right in the middle of the street, making two young passers-by think he's mentally unstable, until the girl quietly asks if that isn't the knight's sword, and the moment the boy hears it, he shouts Lin's name, causing a crowd to gather around him. The girl whispers that ever since Lin appeared, he somehow gained the attention of Dubé, and the only person who ever did that besides him was the skeleton genius. Suddenly another girl storms in angrily, saying that comparing Lin to the skeleton genius is an insult, because the skeleton genius earned fame through great feats, while Lin only gained attention for being stupid, pointing at him loudly and yelling that he's not qualified to be compared to anyone. Hearing this, Lin overhears that one of the famous feats is called the prophetic jade test of the whirlwind falcon, so he rushes to the test site. There, the woman he saw earlier explains that the test measures a chosen one's combat strength, but those without enough energy should avoid entering the crack because they could be injured, while those who do complete it will see their power level displayed on a glowing wall, which can shine gold, purple, blue, green, or white, gold being the strongest, and so far only the skeleton genius has ever achieved it. Despite the explanation, when Lin attempts to start the test, Heron stops him, saying it's unnecessary because he already knows Lin's true potential, and those titles mean nothing. But that doesn't help because the guy who provoked Lin earlier arrives again, mocking him and telling him to stop pretending, frightening Heron enough that Lin panics and runs straight into the crack. But nothing happens because he doesn't meet the minimum requirements. Thinking the issue is the magic stones on the wall, he simply pulls out his sword and smashes them, leaving everyone heartbroken and speechless until the bald court uncle appears again, telling Lin that in all his years, he has never seen someone break the wall. Excited, he tells Lin that he must now prepare to hunt demonic winds, and approaches the sword, saying it must drink the wind blood essence of monsters because Lin is young and destined to become a great warrior. Meanwhile, Heron tells another spirit that he already smelled the bald uncle's deception. Back in the mission hall, the judges offer Lin the assignment of solving a paranormal incident at Msang University, and afterward Lin returns to the real world to investigate, but Heron gets furious. Unable to believe Lin accepted such a pathetic mission just because someone praised him, Lin replies that a job shouldn't be rejected just because it's boring, and since many have failed this mission, the real chosen one might appear there. Heron scolds him, saying that the chosen one must kill demonic winds and protect the world, but then Lin interrupts him excitedly, saying he learned that the university ruins were excavated 3 months ago and that a batch of ancient swords recently resurfaced, meaning the missing artifact is also an ancient sword and that the museum hasn't been able to detect any activity since its disappearance. He concludes that the paranormal incident at the university must be related to the missing sword, but the suspicious part is the explosion last night. Heron panics, thinking Lin discovered something, but calms down when Lin says it's probably the ancient sword trying to summon evil forces underground. Meanwhile, in a tall building, a young man fuses the two halves of the ancient sword, causing explosions in the real world and turning Lin into a magic world character again. Heron screams that a crack has opened and a demonic wind has come. So Lin, excited, pulls out his sword and rushes forward, but a gigantic demonic crab attacks him, forcing Lin to dodge desperately. Without realizing it, he blocks one attack with the sword, injuring the crab, so he provokes it intentionally, letting it get close before striking again, sending the creature fleeing in fear. Fired up by his new strength, he chases it and throws his sword to finish the job, only for it to shatter on impact, injuring him and leaving him helpless as the crab grabs him with its pincers, about to kill him, until the skeleton genius himself appears and saves him just in time. Heron angrily complains that that Lin somehow survived again. To understand this better, the story jumps back to the first day when Lin was teleported to the other world, showing how Heron deliberately gave him the Excalibur sword to attract the goat-headed monster and sacrificed Lin as a training spirit to repair the seal. But it failed. Jumping forward again to the power test moment, we see that Heron also secretly casts black magic on the sword to make Lin fail, proving that Heron is actually Lin's #1 enemy hoping to sacrifice him. Suddenly Lin appears back in the room, all bruised, making Heron relieved that he didn't die. Lin cries, saying he almost got killed and maybe he shouldn't fight demonic winds anymore. But when he sees his shattered sword on the table, he calms down and the sword releases a bright green light, fully restoring itself. Heron is stunned because this is the same green light that earlier turned the tiny crab into a massive monster. Meanwhile, at the university, the long-haired warrior hears from his driver that the crack was opened by the ancient sword with green light, so he tells Uncle Manson that the sword's power is so incredible that it may have triggered the explosion, meaning the ancient legend of the underground city might be true, and a gigantic secret may be buried beneath their feet. When he asks where the sword is now, he is informed that despite its weight, the sword has mysteriously disappeared because it's currently inside Lin's home. Heron wonders how the sword restored itself because only a heaven-favored chosen one can make such a miracle happen. Lin concludes that the accident last night was merely a small test, so he must fight until the end to stop demonic winds from going wild. The divine beasts mock him secretly, thinking it's good that the sacrifice wants to enter the crack again, though they still have no idea what the green light truly is. Suddenly Lin interrupts Heron, asking if it's true that in ancient times the gods of the three worlds fought in a legendary war, because if so, then as the chosen one he should have protectors, and he suspects that the skeleton genius might be one of them. The next day, Wang is informed that the archaeological excavation has been shut down and all reports are being investigated. He asks about his brother and learns his brother secretly caused last night's chaos and is now being punished. Wang coldly says he deserves it and then asks about his new house, and the driver reports it's ready for move-in. Wang checks the game chat and learns the skeleton genius's girlfriend helped Lin solve the mansion incident, causing the entire community to gossip about a potential clash between the Marquis of the Night and the Night Sword. Meanwhile, at Lin's home, he mocks Heron while watching him poop in the sandbox, and the angry divine beast hurriedly tries to cover the mess with sand but accidentally flings all of it into Lin's face. Right at the moment Wang parks outside his door. Outside the building, because of the chaotic situation, the young master quickly rents a room so he can take a bath, and while eating something later he suddenly asks why. At a time when so many strange things are happening, he has chosen to give so much importance to the Knight's Sword. Lu answers calmly that his intuition tells him that even though Lin seems like an idiot, he is actually terrifyingly powerful, so the old man recommends inviting him to hunt demonic winds to see his true strength. Later, the protagonist is invited to Lu's room, and the moment Lu arrives, he orders Manson to keep the inspection secret and to be careful not to expose his identity as the chosen one. Meanwhile, Lin remembers him warmly and welcomes him to the neighborhood with a soft tone, then apologizes for having thrown dirt all over him earlier and even offers to wash Lu's clothes, but Lu politely declines. Lin then starts admiring the luxurious sword decorations inside the room, but since he is extremely handsy, he touches an ornament that turns out to be a secret key, causing a hidden compartment to open and reveal shiny stones. The young master quickly rushes over and explains that they are iron stones used to forge weapons. Lin humbly asks where he gets so many precious stones, and Lu replies that they come from the South Continent Avenue Chamber of Commerce. He tries to give a recommendation but stops when he sees Lin about to touch something extremely valuable, so he quickly pulls him away and tells him that what he truly seeks is a demonic wind core stone, which he also happens to have. After handing the core to him, he explains that the day they met on the battlefield, Lin disappeared right after killing the goat-headed monster, so he has been trying to return the core immediately, since one of these pieces is worth an entire set of strengthening stones. Lin becomes extremely happy but insists they should split the stone, saying that good brothers must always share fortune, and grabs Lu's hand to force him to agree. The next moment, the two appear together in a magical world, specifically in the southern market, and when people see the Marquis of the Night walking arm in arm with a random street nobody, they can't believe their eyes. Inside a shop, they try to sell the 3-star core, and the merchant, realizing Lin looks like a clueless novice, offers only 350 konas, and after seeing Lin hesitate, he immediately lowers his offer to 250, which the excited Lin almost accepts until Lu bursts in and tells the merchant that he recently bought a 2-star core for 600 konas. Lin, realizing the scam, explodes angrily and accuses the merchant of fraud, but the merchant defends himself, saying he respects the law and never forced him to sell. Yet Lin cuts him off and tells him that even if a customer's intelligence is low, a merchant must still have ethics. Embarrassed, the merchant admits he was cheating and offers 1,000 konas. After selling the stone, Lin excitedly invites Lu to eat, but when Lu sees how Lin devours food like a wild animal, He stands up and says he suddenly has no appetite. Lin reminds him not to waste food and explains he once survived in his world for 3 days with only water. Suddenly, at the next table, they hear a boss mistreating an employee, so Lin immediately steps in and confronts the man, saying that all living beings deserve dignity. Surprised, Lu freezes on the spot, and the bully, seeing Lin is with the Marquis of the Night, runs away in fear. Lu leaves the restaurant in shock, so Lin quickly follows him to talk. Days later, we see that Lu has opened a care home for lost bubble creatures and even founded a foundation to solve global food shortages. Later, they meet again in the real world, and Heron warns Lin that it is suspicious how Lu wants to spend so much time with him, but Lin says he never doubted him because Lu is a good man. Suddenly a giant crack tears open above them, and both rush in, finding a powerful 4-star demonic. Suddenly a giant crack tears open above them, and both rush in, finding a powerful 4-star demonic wind that immediately attacks with a tornado. Lin clings to the ground to avoid being sucked in and notices the enemy inside the tornado, so he grabs Heron and hurls him straight at the demon, hitting him and breaking his balance. As the tornado dissolves, Lin panics, thinking Heron has died, and charges in with his sword, but Lu stops him and tells him not to be impulsive because he will use his own tactics. Seeing the demon is agile, Lu orders Lin to deliver the finishing blow, but Lin, clueless, asks what that means, shocking Lu, who can't believe a knight sword doesn't know basic movements. Before he can explain, the demon hits Lu, making him furious, and he tells Lin that they must force the enemy out and orders him to strike at its waist. Lin follows the order perfectly, and Lu attacks at the same time, but the demon burrows underground to escape. Lu tells him to follow, but they are separated as the demon erupts elsewhere. Lu unleashes a water attack, but the demon hides again, causing the attack to splash directly onto Lin, soaking him. Lin quickly stops Lu's next attack, but Lu ends up drenched again. Then the demon finally shows himself, and Lin, convinced he is the true chosen one, asks Lu to guard his back because it is dangerous for someone so small, and he charges bravely into battle. Lu approaches him in awe and tells him he's actually quite good, and after they become partners, he believes Lin can improve even more. Lin, feeling superior, replies proudly that it's surprising Lu wants to be his right guard and that he is happy even though Lu is very weak. These words enrage Lu so much that he unleashes his full power and utterly annihilates the demon. Lin falls to his knees admiring his new friend and tells him that from now on, as brothers, they will destroy evil together and uphold justice. And as his future right guard, Lu must focus on helping him every night. That night, Lin practices techniques from a book Lu lent him near a lake until he gets a call from his boss, who tells him that his drawing is garbage and he has until tomorrow noon to submit something decent. Lin angrily tells Heron, who replies that normal people cannot understand his high-level drawings and suggests he should just focus on killing demonic winds so Heron can sacrifice him because that's all he wants. The next day, Manson asks Lu why he still wants to form a team with Lin if he already knows Lin's true power, and Lu says Lin is brave but reckless and will lead a team into danger, yet he insists on becoming a team leader. The employee assures him that someone else will take charge anyway. Later, Lu checks the magical world chat and finds a photo that looks suspiciously like his employee at night. Meanwhile, Lin rests after working all day until his boss calls again, telling him he is extremely lucky and should check the homepage. Lin sees that his comic has gone viral and jumps with joy as his boss tells him to publish more with an Aura Alpha character to keep voters engaged. The next day, while delivering orders, Lin is extremely happy, but Heron angrily demands to know when he will finally fight demonic winds instead of wasting time, and Lin says he can handle that now and wants to focus on drawing his comic. Suddenly he hears a girl screaming for help and punches the man bothering her, only to realize he has accidentally ruined the filming of a movie. He apologizes while the director notes down all the damages he must pay. The actress sits down, annoyed because her food hasn't arrived, and sends a reminder, which makes Lin's phone ring. He apologizes and tells her she can give him a bad rating if she wants, but instead she kindly invites him to eat with her. He accepts, but then a photographer searching for gossip arrives and asks Lin why he appears everywhere, and even calls him a knight's sword. High above, Heron senses another crack opening and believes it is time to finally sacrifice Lin. Meanwhile, Lin runs heroically inside the crack thinking he must save the world and encounters a powerful demon whose breath attack sends him flying. Lin gets up furious, saying what doesn't kill him makes him stronger, and charges again, but the demon traps him between sharp rock pillars and prepares to kill him. Heron celebrates, thinking the sacrifice will finally succeed, but at that moment the skeleton genius appears, smashes the monster, and saves Lin again. But because the demonic wind is a 5-star level, it's still not defeated, and Lin realizes he must fight alongside his left guard. He breaks out of the trap and attacks with everything he has, and when the enemy disappears, the skeleton genius smiles, ready to fight together until the monster returns with killing intent. With Lin's guard down, he is about to die, but skeleton genius deflects the attack and saves him again. Suddenly Lin's sword glows with green light and shoots toward his partner, forcing her to dodge and keep fighting. Lin desperately tries to control the sword, but to avoid further problems, she traps him inside a barrier and tells him to stay still while she unleashes her full power, defeats the demon, and closes the crack. Once released, Lin climbs the building where the skeleton genius stands, and it's revealed she is the same actress he delivered food to earlier. That night, Lin goes to Lu's house, where Lu immediately clarifies that he is not captain of anything and also that Lin's comic drawings are ugly, but Lin ignores it and says that when he asked the skeleton genius to be his left guard, she rejected him because she hates dogs. So like a dog, he begs Lu to teach him how to deal with women since Lu seems experienced. Lu replies that to woo girls he needs skills, boldness, confidence, and shameless persistence. The next day, at the Wanwi Entertainment Building, the girl meets with LK, an SS-level training agent, who gives her answers for her interview. However, during the interview, she sings the wrong answers, making her agent want to tear his hair out. Then the host asks her to sing a song, and the agent tries to stop it, but suddenly Lin appears and dramatically asks her to marry him, getting himself thrown out of the building instantly as he remembers that Lu before leaving. He remembers that Lu told him he should never give up, so throughout the day he keeps trying to approach Kimo with flowers but always fails, and when afternoon falls, Lin waits outside his building hoping to see her, but he suddenly notices her speeding away on her motorcycle, so he quickly follows her to an orphanage where he finds her happily playing soccer with the children, which brings back memories of his own childhood as a mischievous brat. Suddenly he hears the kids asking Kimo to sing a song, and this makes Lin extremely happy, but the moment she opens her mouth he hears her sing Maoya instead of the soft voice he imagined, leaving him completely frozen. After the scene ends, Lin approaches her to talk, and while watching a child being adopted, he quietly tells her that the last time he saw his father he was the same age as that kid, and explains that feeling alone is terrible because it pushes you deeper into loneliness. He then gathers courage and asks her to be his partner, his left guard, to fight demonic winds together, saying it is a combination of luck and strength. Suddenly a girl runs up to tell Kimo that Zali fell from the swing, so both of them run with Lin to help her. At the end of the day, Kimo tries to escape from him, and when she is about to leave on her motorcycle, Lin gives her a bag of food, but she coldly rejects it, saying she doesn't need food and definitely doesn't need a teammate. Lin realizes she heard him talking earlier about forming a team, so he jumps on his bicycle to chase her, shouting that no matter where she goes, he will not give up. Annoyed, she stops in the middle of the street, but because Lin's bicycle has no brakes, he crashes directly into her, sending her motorcycle flying into pieces. Lin apologizes and promises to take full responsibility, but she cuts him off and tells him to shut up. Minutes later, an ambulance arrives, and people tell Lin that she will probably stop talking to him within a few days. That night, the photographer who caught Lin earlier shows the stolen university sword images to the boy who stole the artifact and asks what he wants to do, and the boy says he must teach Lin a lesson. Meanwhile, in the hospital, Lin wonders why Kimo doesn't want to be his partner when suddenly he receives a call reminding him his fine is overdue. Hearing this, he remembers he must pay compensation for ruining a movie recording, meaning he is drowning in debt. He thinks maybe he can earn money with his comics, but just then his boss calls angrily to inform him that his comic was deleted for plagiarism, so he won't earn a single cent. He is also told his rent is unpaid and he will be evicted. Overwhelmed, Lin leaves the hospital but witnesses a fight breaking out nearby, so he hesitates between saving the world or chasing his dream as a cartoonist. Suddenly he sees the same demonic wind he fought before killing a warrior, and when he realizes it's the man he helped earlier, he shouts for him to run, but the man tries to repay the favor by attacking the demon with an axe only to miss and hit Lin instead before running away. Lin is forced into a fierce battle against the powerful demon and manages to land a strike that cuts off one of its arms, but he becomes exhausted, and when he tries to deliver the final blow, the demon blocks it with its remaining arm. Desperate, Lin calls the tiger-headed warrior for help, but the man is terrified. However, after Lin motivates him by saying a chosen one must trust his teammates, the tiger bravely charges, though his attack does nothing and the demon throws both of them aside, then starts regenerating. Lin screams that the demon is cheating and unleashes his killing wave, cutting the enemy into pieces, but the monster instantly reforms, even bigger than before. Meanwhile, Lu receives a paper revealing details about the Yaksha weapon, explaining that the demon's upper body and lower body are illusions, and as long as the real core survives, they cannot kill it. Lu tells Manson that demonic winds are becoming stronger, making solo battles impossible, and Manson reassures him that he has bought Lin's apartment, so when Lin becomes homeless, he will seek him out naturally. At that moment, Lu gets a notification summoning all chosen ones to the Yaka Rift because the Knight's sword is fighting alone. While Lin tries to escape with the tiger, the demon transforms into a giant turtle and traps him between rock spikes to force him to watch his friend die, which makes Lin burst with furious energy. He breaks free and unleashes a shocking power that burns the demon completely into ash. Lu and the tiger stare in disbelief that such strength came from a rookie. As soon as the battle ends, Lin runs to his apartment to see if anything was stolen, and when he finds everything intact, he hugs Heron tightly and cries because he cannot believe his belongings are safe. Suddenly his boss calls to ask what kind of insane luck he has and informs him someone paid his rent, causing Lin to collapse on his bed with joy. Relieved he won't end up on the street, his boss then tells him the plagiarism claim was a mistake and asks when he can submit his next chapter, making Lin even happier until he checks his phone and sees a message saying his fine will increase by 1% every day it remains unpaid. But he ignores it and reads the Chosen Ones chat where people complain about him ranking 49th in the 4-zone list. Lin finds the tiger's contact and sends him a friend request, and we go back in time to see how after the fight Lou ordered Manson to stop bullying Lin and to help him with debts and the plagiarism case. In the present, Lin sleeps peacefully while Heron hits him for snoring, and suddenly someone throws tranquilizer gas through the window. Once Heron faints, a young man enters to steal the sword, but when he sees Lin lying on the table, he tries to draw on his face only for Lin to talk in his sleep and scare him away. The next day Lin wakes up and receives a gift package with a thank you card for saving the tiger. Later he meets the tiger at the restaurant where they first met, and everyone is shocked to see the man of the moment with the Marina tiger. Lin receives more small gifts, and while eating, the tiger tells him he also has a bubble pet. Lin asks where it is, but before he gets an answer, they hear people mocking the tiger for being effeminate, which makes Lin furious as he storms outside and shouts that the tiger-headed warrior is his best friend, and though he won't beat those bullies now because they're holding him back, anyone who insults his friend again will die. When they sit back down, the tiger explains that during a live stream he realized Lin's sword may be possessed by a spirit and warns him to be careful. But Lin doesn't take it seriously and starts asking him for help with story ideas. The tiger shyly asks if he wants ideas for his comic, which makes Lin extremely excited when he hears he even received tips from him. Hours later, Lin texts the tiger, who is actually a girl, to ask who her favorite character is. She says it's Skeleton Genius, the left guard, so Lin tells her he will open a story conference at Mingen University and asks if she wants to join him, but she says she has something else to handle. That night Lin hits 10,000 views and invites the tiger to celebrate with him and bring her blue bubble pet. The next day, in the park, he meets the actor he once hit and mistakes him for the tiger, but then a shy girl approaches and reveals that she is the tiger's real identity. When Lin asks why she uses a voice changer, she says people avoid her because they think she is arrogant. Lin asks about Blue, and she shows him a picture, saying Blue got lost the same day the archaeological site exploded. Lin is shocked because that was the day he found Heron, and suddenly he wonders if Heron and Blue are connected. As they talk, loud rumbling noises rise from the pagoda of the Wild Goose, where 10,000 demons are said to be sealed, but she explains the sound is just compressed wind vibrating. Then the pagoda begins shaking violently, and inside we see the boy who stole Lin's sword experimenting unsuccessfully, causing a massive explosion and unleashing a black aura and fierce wind. People on a nearby boat panic, thinking the legends are true. Lin approaches the frost beast and comes to fight, but only then notices his sword is missing, so he grabs the girl and runs. During the panic he spots his sword in a garbage cart but doesn't think too much and immediately grabs it to attack the demon, but the sword doesn't work and instead paralyzes him, allowing the fog monster to hit him. Maya runs to check on him, but the demon grabs Lin's own sword and strikes him, and Lin shouts for her to escape. Remembering everything Lin did for her, she activates her tiger form and declares she will never let the monster hurt her first friend, then launches a fierce attack, summoning 2 fire tigers to push the demon back. Suddenly the blue fog monster appears from the bushes, revealing it is actually Blue under a curse. Meanwhile, Lou scolds the young boy for causing the explosion and confirms that Lin's sword has transformed into the ancient green sword's new breath. The boy insists the fog monster was influenced by the weapon, and Lou tells him experimenting on someone else's sword without permission deserves punishment. The next day Lin dreams of his father and unknowingly tries to jump from the window, but Maya bursts into his room and stops him, telling him life can be unfair but that isn't a solution. Lin asks her to let go because they're on the ground floor and she's crushing against the window. Later they go to a special inpatient hospital department where Dr. Waki examines Lin. Lin tells him they're friends and he always brings her food, but the doctor says his brain damage is severe and he has hallucinations and self-sabotage tendencies. Maya adds that when she searched his room for clothes, she saw his browser history filled with strange occult spells and even found a box of forbidden 5 dragons pills that slow brain signals, cause drowsiness, and accelerate heart rate. After the diagnosis, she asks if she can join Lin's fighting team, but when he hesitates, she calls him a brat and tells him not to embarrass the department. Outside, Dr. Yi reviews Lin's report and says it's abnormal that at only 20 years old, his somatic function children is equivalent to an 80-year-old's, meaning he has only 1 month left to live. When Lin re-enters the room to explain he never intended self-harm, Maya interrupts and asks if he has any last wishes. She messages Skeleton Genius explaining Lin's life force was drained fighting the demonic wind and he has only 1 month left, hoping she will join his team to fulfill his final wish. But Kimo says Lin is stubborn and deletes the message. Days later, Lin is discharged, and Maya takes him to a party at Lu's house. Lin is thrilled and jokes that now that he knows such high-class parties exist, he wants to get sick more often. During the party, he eats happily with Maya, Lu, and Dr. Waki until he sees through the window that Kimo has just arrived. Lu greets her, clinks her glass, and says he didn't expect to see her, and she replies that it's been a long time. Then Dr. Yi proudly declares that this is the first meeting of the invincible team across time and space, and Lu calls him stupid, but Dr. Yi grabs him by the shirt and angrily demands, "So if you like this anime and want next episodes, so don't forget to like and subscribe."